Are you looking for a quality exercise mat for less than $22? If you've answered yes and are looking to improve your home workout space while also providing great support for your next workout, then stick around, because today I'm going to be reviewing one of the most popular exercise mats in the market, the ProSource Puzzle Exercise Mat. Stick around, guys. Before we get into the review, let me start off by saying that ProsourceFit does not sponsor this video. I had actually been interested in this exercise mat for a while, so that I could practice martial arts movements and lightweight conditioning exercises when I didn't have time to make it to my local gym. I was also fascinated in the concept of a convenient and affordable exercise mat for home use, and wanted to see how it stacked up to a variety of different workouts. I had a lot of questions about this mat, such as how impact resistant it is, as well as what workouts it's best for. I'll be answering all these questions and more, so make sure to watch till the end of the review. So, without further ado, we're going to start by jumping into the contents of this mat. Upon opening the box, you'll have 6 puzzle tile pieces as well as 12 end borders. The 6 tile pieces are what you will mainly be using to work out on, while the end borders give the mat a much more polished look upon final construction. Personally, I would use the end pieces on each tile just so the interlocking tiles don't get worn out over time, but if you don't like the end pieces, you can always leave them out. As far as assembly goes, it's pretty straightforward. Simply connect the tiles together and add the end pieces on later. As far as weight, the tiles themselves are pretty light and versatile. You can easily assemble and disassemble them in a few minutes. While these mats aren't exactly the most travel-friendly item, such as yoga mats, they're not overly heavy or bulky to carry around. You can either keep them set up in one place, or set them up in a variety of locations to your liking. Obviously there's not much more to see here other than the color, which in my case is black, but you can also order them in gray or blue based on your preferences. Now that we've covered the contents, you're probably wondering the exact measurements of this mat upon full construction, and frankly, this is probably the most important part, since you want to make sure the size dimensions can fit into your workout space needs. So to clarify for everyone, each individual tile measures 2 feet in length times 2 feet in width, equaling 4 feet of total square space per tile, with a ½ inch of thickness from the highest point of texture. Upon construction, these mats are 6 feet in length times 4 feet width, equaling 24 total square feet. What's nice about these dimensions from ProSource is that even with just the lowest tile selection of $21, you still get a generous amount of space for your workout needs. The 24 total square feet is enough space so that you can perform an ample amount of exercises on the mats without feeling too cramped or overcrowded, such as burpees, push-ups, kettlebell exercises, squats, and much more. I used to do a lot of P90X home workouts myself, and these mats would have really come in handy back then. Versatility is key here with ProSource, and whether you're dealing with a small workout space in your room or looking to go all in on a garage gym, there's a lot you can do with these mats, depending on how many you're willing to buy and experiment with. In addition to the spacing, there is always the option to fit a variety of different workout equipment on them as well, such as a stationary bike or a bench press. However, this is where questions arise about the durability and support of the ½ inch thickness of these mats, as well as the EVA foam they're made out of. What are these questions, you might ask? Well, make sure to stay till the end of the video, where I'll go into more detail about EVA foam as a material and the truth about this puzzle mat in terms of durability and best uses for it. For now, I'll just say that it's pretty good for most exercises and equipment, but depending on your workout needs, you may want to consider other options. And for those of you interested, they also make these same mats in 3/4 of an inch thickness, just in case you need any extra durability. Now let's move on to EVA foam as a material and how this relates to the pros and cons of these mats. While the spacious dimensions and easy assembly are an awesome plus when it comes to the ProSource Puzzle Mat, neither of these two qualities means anything unless the mat is durable and the flooring is reliable enough for your workout needs. With that said, let's briefly talk a little bit about the EVA foam material these mats are made out of and how this factors into the durability and quality of them. EVA foam, or ethylene vinyl acetate, is basically just an elasticized closed cell foam. Closed cell here simply means that the cells that make up the foam are completely closed off, blocking any air or moisture that may get inside. Because of this, closed cell foams tend to be more dense and stable, while open cell foams, where the cells that compose the foam are open or porous, tend to be more soft and flexible. Although known for its density, EVA is commonly referred to as foam rubber or expanded rubber, despite the fact that it doesn't contain any. In addition, the closed cell makeup of EVA foam blocks out any air or moisture, meaning these mats are not absorbent. Now that you have an understanding of some of the basic makeup of EVA foam, we need to now consider the pros and cons of it as a material so we can get a better understanding about what these puzzle mats are good for. Luckily for us, there's a lot of pluses to EVA foam as a surface material, so let's talk about this a little. Water resistant. Right off the bat, these mats are resistant to both water and liquids. This is due, as I mentioned before, because of the closed cell nature of the foam, which blocks out moisture. This is a plus because it means we don't have to worry about these mats getting soiled by any spills. It also means that these mats can easily be cleaned and washed down if any excess sweat or blood gets on them. I actually did a quick water test myself just to see how these mats held up, and the water just tended to sit atop the mats instead of seeping in or absorbing, which makes cleanup a breeze. Anti-cracking. EVA foam is also crack resistant, most likely due to the density and firmness of the closed cell makeup. This is helpful as it will improve the overall lifespan of the product, as well as reduce damage due to impact. Shock absorbance and buoyancy. As a foam, EVA is known for its absorbent qualities. This is a plus for anyone looking to lessen the impact on their joints. The soft and buoyant texture can also help reduce the impact from jumps or falls. Anti-fatigue and subtle movements. The firmness of EVA foam is helpful in aiding your body fight fatigue. For example, if you were to stand on these mats as opposed to just a normal floor, you'll feel much less stress in your knees and hamstrings due to the soft, shock-absorbent qualities of the mat. The firmness of EVA foam also helps in performing more subtle movements, lowering your chances of rolling your ankle during use. Comfortable and soft. EVA foam is also very soft and comfortable. As someone who's owned this mat for a while, this is awesome for more relaxing exercises such as yoga or stretching. Even just laying down on the mat is pretty comfortable, believe it or not. Modular nature. Because EVA foam is lightweight, and in our case comes in tiles, this allows for more convenient use, as well as more design possibilities. The mats themselves are portable and can be used in a variety of different ways and setups. Whether you're cutting them to fit into an entire room, or simply island fitting, there's a lot of creativity and fun you can have with these mats. You can bring them to a different location with relative ease, or set multiple tiles up in a colorful pattern for aesthetics. Noise reducing. The soft foam also assists in noise reduction. This is great if you're doing workouts in an apartment or upstairs. These mats aren't soundproof by any means though, so I wouldn't recommend doing anything crazy, like dropping weights on them for example. Good insulation. While this is just a minor point, EVA foam is often used for heat insulation in walls. Unlike rubber exercise mats, which tend to trap cold air depending on the temperatures, EVA blocks out the cold due to its closed cell makeup, which is nice to know in case you're using these mats during the winter. EVA foam is also very affordable. In particular, these mats from ProSource come in at just under $21. Compare this to rubber exercise mats, for example, and you're looking at an extra $20 to $50 in a price increase. So, on a budget, EVA foam is a great choice. Non-toxic. Finally, another plus is that these mats contain no toxic phthalates. For those of you who might not know what phthalates are, they're a substance added to plastics to increase flexibility, which have been linked in some studies to many bad health effects, such as breast cancer, obesity, and more. Now obviously these studies from what I found weren't completely conclusive, however, it is nice to know that these mats are no longer affiliated with such a controversial element. A lot of people on Amazon seem to be concerned about whether or not these mats still contain this substance, since it was reported as still being used as recently as 2015. But I'm here to clarify for everyone that ProsourceFit no longer uses this material in their mats. I actually went ahead and called ProsourceFit just to make sure of this, and the gentleman on the phone verified this with me by checking with the workers in the warehouse where they're shipped from. So I'd say it's safe to say that there's nothing to worry about anymore. But if you're still unsure though, be sure to check the wrapping on your mat, just in case, as it should have a disclaimer that says phthalate free. The cons. Now, of course, no material is perfect, and EVA foam is no exception here. While there are a lot of great qualities to it, there's definitely some downsides to EVA as it relates to these puzzle mats, so let's talk about that a little bit. Impressionable. Now, this is one of the first things I noticed in my research on EVA foam, as well as my experience with it. While the softness of this foam is awesome, it does come with a downside when you put a lot of weight on it. I've seen countless other reviews on YouTube and Amazon where people complain about this mat's inability to take heavy impact from workout equipment. Stuff like exercise bikes, bench presses, just any heavy equipment in general will leave a noticeable indent on the mats. While I wouldn't call this a deal breaker per se, those planning to use these mats for home gym need to be aware of the risk. If you do decide to use these mats for heavy equipment, your best bet is just to pick one space to leave it on, because constantly moving it around will cause more indents. I've seen videos where people put just a stationary bike on these mats and it left impressions that were permanent. I also did a test where I simply rolled a heavy weight onto the mat and it left some ugly scuffing and almost seemed to scratch the finished surface. But again, EVA foam isn't necessarily meant to take such heavy impact, so we should keep that in mind as well. Sliding and shifting. Another minor issue with these mats is that the bottom isn't super grip resistant. Now, this isn't really a problem if you're cutting these mats to say fit into an entire room, since there won't be any space for them to slide around anyway. But let's say for example you're using these mats for island fitting, where the mats are set up in an isolated spot. Depending on the floor you have, there's a good chance these mats are going to slide around. I know mine did when I used them on my wooden floor. While this is a bit disappointing that ProSource didn't bother to reinforce the bottom with something adhesive, this problem can be alleviated by simply placing the mats over a stable surface. For example, if you put them on a stable carpet, there's a good chance they won't slide around as much. But you definitely don't want to put these mats on a slippery floor and then go ahead and jump around on them. Again, most carpets should do the trick here. Thin compared to other mats. Now, even if you upped your width size from 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch, these mats are still thin compared to other exercise mats, such as folding gym mats, which can range anywhere from 1.5 inches to 2 inches in width. Just so you guys know, folding gym mats are meant for more heavy-duty impact protection from tumbling-based exercises like gymnastics or grappling. Now, I'm not saying these puzzle mats can't protect you from falls or slips, they certainly can, they're just not going to absorb the impact as well as mats specifically designed for this. Questionable connecting. Another common criticism of these mats is that they have some minor issues staying connected, especially during plyometric or high movement exercises. However, there are solutions to this. First off, I noticed that in general, these mats only really came apart during exercise if the surface beneath them was slippery, for example my wooden floor. For the most part, if you place these mats over an adhesive surface, like a carpet, this shouldn't happen as much. Now, one solution I also found was that a lot of people were saying you could also tape the bottom of these mats together with Gorilla Tape. While some people might be turned off by this, it's certainly not a bad idea and can be helpful for those who don't have a carpet or stable surface already. Cheaper and less durable. While EVA foam is definitely great for softness, it's not nearly as durable as rubber. This explains why EVA doesn't do as well with heavy equipment or weight dropping as I mentioned before. In addition, obviously these mats are cheaper, so there's going to be questions about their overall lifespan. And lastly, the less durable nature of EVA could lead to punctures or scratches, depending on the items you leave on them. Uses and recommendations. So now that we've covered the pros and cons of these mats, what are the best and worst recommended uses for them? What exercises are perfect for these mats, and which applications should you avoid altogether? This is a super important section for anyone interested in picking these up, so let's dive right in. And one more thing guys, if you're looking to use these mats for the following, then definitely pick them up by clicking the link below for the lowest price available on Amazon. Okay, so the best uses for these mats are low impact aerobic exercises, bodyweight exercises such as yoga, calisthenics, or stretching, lightweight conditioning, which uses small or minimal weights, striking martial arts such as karate or taekwondo, as a children's play area, for cosplay purposes, or just as a simple mat. One of the main reasons these mats do so well with the type of workouts I listed is because of the soft impact resistance of EVA foam, which complements these exercises by reducing overall impact and fatigue. For example, if you're looking to do more calming exercises, like yoga or stretching, these mats are super comfortable for the particular movements involved. In addition, these mats aid in the more intense workouts I've listed by giving you the necessary support for your next sit-up or push-up. Striking martial arts also deserve to be mentioned here because the impact resistance these mats offer are perfect for the jumping movements in Taekwondo and Karate. Whether you're stance switching or practicing your side kick, these mats offer great support. Just be sure you place these mats on a stable surface though before jumping on them. These mats are also perfect for a home basement setup for your kids. They're not only affordable and easy to assemble, but can also protect your kids from falls or slips. Finally, I know this review is mainly focused on exercise usage, but a lot of people on Amazon raved about these mats' utility for cosplay. They can easily be cut or formed to fit your costume needs, so be sure to check them out if cosplay is your thing. Questionable usage. In this section, we're just going to briefly go over some uses for these mats that a lot of people seem confused about. These include exercises you could practice on these mats, but definitely might want to supplement with another material. Those exercises include grappling martial arts, such as BJJ and wrestling, and plyometric exercises. Now, hypothetically, you could use these mats for grappling because they do offer decent protection from falls. I'd recommend upping your size to 3/4 inches thick for more support if you do decide to do this. The problem is that these mats are not intended for some of the tumbling-based movements of these martial arts, and they simply don't offer as much protection. These puzzle mats would be better than nothing, but you'd be better off looking into ProSource's actual gymnastic mats if you're serious about grappling arts. Now, in regards to plyometric exercises, this was a more controversial topic that a lot of people seem to ask online, being, are these mats good for plyometric movements? And the answer is, I'd say they're definitely not bad, but consider looking at supplementing them with some plyometric rubber mats. The reason being is because while these mats are soft and help reduce strain on your joints, they don't have as good of output for the explosive-based movements in plyometric exercises. In addition, a lot of plyometric routines can involve circuit training, where shoes are worn and change of direction is important, and these mats simply aren't designed for that. If you're doing some sort of PNDX workout that features a lot of jumping squats or burpees, these mats will do okay, but any repetitive circuit training that goes from point A to point B might not be the best option. Which brings us to our final section, what you should not use these mats for, and frankly, there's a few important points here. If you're one of those gym rats who loves to pump heavy iron and drop weights in the ground, then these mats are definitely not for you. While these mats are impact and noise resistant, they don't take well to heavy weights or big machines. As we saw in my previous section, dropping or rolling weights around on these mats is just asking to do unneeded harm and shorten their lifespan. As I mentioned before, definitely don't pick up these mats if you're looking to do circuit-based training. Rubber plyometric mats are by far superior here in terms of grip, change of direction, and impact absorption. Any running or footwork style drills that go from one point to another are not suited for EVA mats. Like I said before, you can get away with certain plyometric exercises with these mats, but for more intense explosive training, definitely look into rubber mats. Lower body plyometrics I had no real issue with, such as squats or skaters, but I was a bit shocked by the lack of support for upper body explosive movements, such as clapping push-ups. Before buying exercise mats, it's usually good to consider 3 things. 1. The amount of weight that's going to be impacting the mats. 2. The equipment placed on them. And 3. The type and intensity of the activities you intend to perform on them. As long as you keep this criteria in mind when buying an exercise mat, then ProSource puzzle mats are a great choice for those looking to build a home gym on a budget. They're very affordable, versatile with multiple uses, and generally offer good support for a variety of lightweight conditioning exercises such as yoga or calisthenics. So long as you use these mats for what EVA is best intended for, you'll definitely find plenty of usage for them. I think a big issue people run into with these mats is expecting them to fit into any exercise routine they're doing at the time. While these mats work great for some things, there are certain activities, such as heavy weight training and circuit training, that these mats simply aren't effective for. The thing is, that's not a bad thing. You wouldn't use EVA mats for those sort of training regimens, just like you wouldn't use rubber mats for yoga or gymnastic mats for circuit training. It's all about what the material being used is and what it's best suited for. In conclusion, while the marketing for these mats can be a bit misleading, if you can get past the hype, you'll find some solid exercise mats which offer good support at a very reasonable price. If you're interested in buying these mats, then please click the link below to buy them at the lowest price available. And if you like this video, make sure to like and comment below, and be sure to hit that subscribe button for more awesome content. Okay guys, until next time.